Arik, thought it might be easier to actually talk you through this notion, um, because when people do things, they do them. You need they need to fulfill two requirements for a behavior to occur successfully. The first is that they're willing, and the second is that they're able. So when we talk about integrating technical and non-technical coaching, the technical element of the coaching, your side of the work, is that they need the ability to do things. They need the knowledge to know what behaviors are occurring, and then they need the technical ability to moderate those behaviors. So included in this ability would be producing checklists, for example, which enforce procedures or steps that need to be followed in order for the successful technical outcome. But what is crucial to any behavior is that the person is willing as well. And you can see the power of willingness in the fact that if it were not for this non-technical element, everybody would quit smoking, everybody would eat correctly, nobody would break diets, everybody would exercise, doctors would wash their hands all the time, everything would just happen right. So you can see how important this non-technical component is. You can also see that the integration of willing and able refers to any specific skill. So if I'm talking about a specific skill around following a checklist for what I need to do before I sell, for example, I need to be able to follow those steps, but I also need to be willing to follow those steps. And that's really where the integration of our work is quite exciting, because nobody else is offering this level of integration, which allows you to be so specific in the way that you target behaviors that you want to change. Now, there are a range of different theories on how to produce behavior change. This is quite a nice one. It says when we consider somebody's willingness, we can break that down into three components. The first is willingness that comes from my own self. The second is willingness that comes from social, and the third is willingness that comes from the environment. So in terms of me being willing myself, why am I personally and professionally motivated to do the work or to follow these steps in our example? And some of the key elements of willingness coming from myself are that I have autonomy, people are attracted by mastery, and people need to see purpose. So this is where you would need to be quite careful with a checklist, for example, because if somebody feels that a checklist is taking away their autonomy, it's actually counterproductive in terms of producing that behavior. If they feel that it's reducing the skill in the behavior and they're losing a sense of mastery, then once again, the person would actually be less motivated to perform that behavior. And finally, if they don't see the purpose or if they don't agree with the purpose, you're going to have less compliance. So, just an indication of why it's actually quite a delicate issue to change behavior. Then secondly, obviously, there need to be social forces that drive somebody's willingness, and one of those is that the behavior just needs to become normal. It's kind of, well, everybody does this. The second is that if I perform this behavior, it will give me a sense of belonging to a group of people that actually matter to me, that I want to belong to that group. And then finally, I have a sense that it's going to make a difference to other people. And then finally, in terms of the environment, what's kind of important here, and this is one of the reasons why computer games are so effective, is because the environmental consequences are so quick. And this is one of the challenges that we've discussed in the financial world, is that feedback is often not that clear and it's not that immediate. So in terms of increasing people's willingness to produce a particular behavior, we'd need to structure the environment in a way that means that progress can be recorded and that it's actually enjoyable to do. Um, so there's a breakdown that somebody would want to choose to do the behavior because they want to master it. They can see the reason, and they feel that this moment is an opportunity that they would not want to lose. So that's just a little introduction to the notion that in order to achieve behavioral change, behaviors need to be both technically possible and non-technically desirable. And the structuring of that is something that you can actually do in a systematic, strategic way, but it is quite subtle. It will need to be moderated and adapted to the particular individuals and the particular circumstance, and you've got to get it right in order to achieve that actual behavior change. There are another trying to find the slideshow. There are another, it's not the only theory on behavior change. A popular one that is used by the behavioral insights team, run by David Halpern, and they report to the current government, is that behaviors need to be easy, attractive, social, and timely, which kind of runs across similar concepts. And then another is the notion of brief motivational interviewing, which is really the behavior change model that kicked off the whole behavioral science approach in psychology, which has been one of the most sort of important and useful developments in psychology over the last 25 years. So that is really a breakdown in terms of why we need technical and non-technical and how it could be achieved.